What's everybody talking about in here? Who up in here? Who up in here? Let's see here. Let's see who comes up in here. Damn, it's beautiful outside. What's up, DC Static? What's up, Breeze? What's up, Kevin, New York? What part of New York? You down in New York City with all the bullshit, or upstate New York? What's up, Josh? What's up, Quan? I'm over here watching basketball. Let me see what these motherfuckers up to. Let me see. Mir Lassa, you had some drink yesterday, bro. You was on one last Q&A. You was on some other shit. You had like a 2-hour long DMT high. Shit. Usually DMT lasts 15 minutes. Somehow your ass had it for 2 hours. Like on Grand Theft Auto 5, when Trevor eat that plant and he be all like fucked up. That's how you was, nigga. When Trevor eat that plant on GTA 5 on that mission. This nigga was in the chat on a Yahoo. I'm not on YouTube, in the YouTube chat, on an ayahuasca high. Hempstead, Long Island. That whole New York area be tripping me out. New York is the size of a goddamn fingernail, but it's 16 trillion people that live in that one little ass island. You look at like size-wise, like New York is small as hell, but it's a lot of motherfuckers that live on that little ass island. Yeah. What up, Mel? Man. I was thinking about doing an incense and ashtray tonight. What y'all think? Should I get on and do the music tonight, or should I? Because if I don't do it tonight, I'm doing it on Friday. What do I think about Rihanna disrespecting Dr. King? I was thinking about talking about that too. That's what I was going to talk about. Man, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to do a whole show on that, Rihanna and Dr. King. Some bullshit. Because think about it. We don't go to nobody else's home disrespecting their icons. When's the last time you seen a black American go to Nigeria and disrespect Fela? Nigga, hell. Black people didn't... She from and then Nicki Minaj is from Trinidad. Nigga, black people didn't disrespect Felix Trinidad in boxing, let alone the island of Trinidad. That shows that they have no self-respect. That's really what it comes down to. For you to disrespect another culture's icon like that, that means you have no respect of self. You have no respect for those in the struggle with you. And you hold all of your respect to those who captured and enslaved you. And yes, those people from them fucking islands were enslaved too, because their own islands that they descend from, that they control none of the resources. And this ain't to talk shit about them. It's just to tell the truth. And so when you have those kinds that do stuff like that, disrespectful to us, they're just showing that they have no self-respect for themselves, their mothers, or anybody that look like them. Yeah, and Michael Blackson. and Michael Blackson. Yeah, I be seeing Michael Blackson at the Improv. I be seeing him around LA sometime. He got a dope ass Rolls Royce SUV. My first time seeing that Rolls Royce SUV was when Michael Blackson was driving it. And with this being LA, I saw 2 or 3 more that same night. he, he was the first to pull up in one of them. Later on that same night, 2 other niggas pulled up in them. Yeah, like that's disrespectful. But look at Michael Blackson's comedy style. Michael Blackson is he's basically a step it fetch it for Africans. Like how we had like the Jim Crow step it fetch it character for Americans, Black Americans. Michael Blackson is the step and fetch it of Africa. He just plays every stereotype. And he's funny as hell. When you go see him live, like, you know what I mean? It's funny, but what is he really saying? What he's really talking about is black people and himself. He got a whole, I don't know if he still does this set, but I remember a set he used to do when I saw him at the Laugh Factory a few years ago. He runs off about 20 different black jokes. And they're probably black jokes that he heard growing up. I'm blacker than midnight when I close my eyes. I'm blacker than the inside of the chimney. I'm blacker than the universe. It's just a whole bunch of I'm black, I'm black, I'm black. And it's funny, but at what cost? Like, I do fat jokes. Like, I'm a fat dude. I do jokes about being fat. But my fat jokes questions people's assumptions about fatness, and I have a greater story within it. And the story about that I have in my fat jokes is about self-love and how no one can tell you how to be you. You just gotta love who you are. You know, and I'll say some fat jokes to bring that point back around about self-love and self-worth. And you dictating your self-worth, not the next person. He just talks shit about being black with no solution, no remedy, no way to tie in the story. So if that's how he is with himself, I expect him to be like that with us. And he like married to some white bitch, or I think is she white or is she like not black? She's one of them alternative chicks who would never, 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 never. Did I say never, ever, ever, never fuck with him if he couldn't afford a Rolls Royce SUV? Yeah, Asian descent. So yeah. So that's why like black people always say you gotta question the source. You have to question the source. When you have people that treat themselves that way, that shows you it's a self thing that they're projecting out. And yes, you check them. Because too long we went around not checking people like that. Yes, 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 we check them. But at the same time, you don't sit around and get sad and, oh, I'm hurt. We just got talked about by somebody who hates their own mama. So, okay, whatever. I'll check your punk ass, but after I check you, it's whatever. Go back to your hut, Unjuke. Go back to your hut. So, yeah, comedy is getting people to laugh at your pain. But I look at comedy the same way I look at music, the same way I look at poetry, movies. See, the white supremacists, they take art and they create a destructive end. That's why every fucking movie that they show got guns in it. Even the cartoons got guns in it. Think about this shit. Cartoons are the first things you show kids. And what do we grow up on? Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd shooting motherfuckers. You grow up on, so the white supremacist uses entertainment as a form of violence, as a form of coercion, as a form of propaganda. We use art to inspire, to sow love and knowledge of self. And I'm not saying everything has to have a high vibrating message. Look, the profane exists too. Some shit's gonna be fucked up and tell fucked up stories. I get that. But there's at least some sort of balance. You know what I mean? There's at least some sort of balance. And, you know, that's how I look at art. So when I see people just, especially black folks, using it just to tear themselves down and tear other people down around them, I'm like, man, that's a waste of talent. It's a waste of talent. It's good to say some shit about yourself that's negative, and you know, everything ain't gonna be positive. That's cool. But where the fuck is the balance? That's my question. Where's the balance? Mm, yeah, I love comedy, man. No, I'll take it back. I love the 20 minutes or 30 minutes I'm on stage. I literally hate everything else about comedy. That's why I'm being on stage like that. I hate the business of comedy. Let me say that one more time. I hate the business of comedy. I don't fuck with the comedy like that. I don't call to get stage time. I don't show my face and do the things necessary to get booked regularly because to me that game is just stupid. And so I perform my little hole in the wall rooms that I'm asked to perform at. I had a show last week, a bar full of Mexicans. It was like 90 Mexicans in that bar. I killed them motherfuckers too. I had these two ladies in a crowd talking to each other. Three ladies. I clowned the shit out of them, hit them with all kind of jokes, and then I do shows like that and stay sharp. So when I do get my road gigs and my paying gigs, I'm ready. But as far as just comedy grind and doing what it takes to be noticed and be seen and be on the right stages, I ain't doing that. And no disrespect to those who do, but it ain't my game. Like, you know I'm funny, either you gonna book me or you not. What's up, Chris Face? What's up, Ty Ward? I appreciate that, Breeze. Yeah, but like I was telling somebody recently who wanted to do comedy. If you want to do comedy, your first 5 years, you got to be on stage at least 4 to 5 nights a week, at least 2 to 3 shows, stages a night. You want to get on stage like 15 times a week your first 5 years when you in comedy. If you ain't willing to dedicate that kind of energy towards comedy, don't waste your fucking time. You'll never get good if you ain't willing to spend your first 5 years on stage 10 to 15 times a week. That's what it takes to find. It takes that to find your voice in about 5 years. Yeah, but at the end of the day, people like Rihanna, people like Michael Blackston, Nicki Minaj, these immigrants that do that stuff, man, it'd be nice if our other immigrant brothers would check them. If the immigrants who are on code check the people from their island or their country, that'll go a long way. That'll go a long way. That'll go a long way. That way y'all ain't gotta always be in the crosshairs. Hey, but in good news, as far as immigrants go, I thought about this other day when I was at the Honda dealership getting my shit serviced. When I bought my car a few months ago, I was in the car, and I wish I could have talked to the lady longer, but I had just bought the car, and the sales lady was showing me all the little features, cause I got an Accord, but I got the one with all the goddamn features, top of the line, that touring edition, cause it got that luxury ride to it. And she was telling me all the features, and some like a lady from East Africa walked up to the car, and it was a black sales lady, so she saw 2 black people in the car. Some lady from East Africa walked up to the car and said, "Thank you." I was like, huh? She said, she was like, Black Americans have done so much. Black Americans have done so much to help us over here. She said, I didn't realize that. Someone told me recently how much you guys have done. She said, we never would have got here if it weren't for Black Americans. And I'm just sitting here like, and the lady's like almost crying. She said, because we were always told that Black Americans were the worst part about America and to stay away from Black Americans. All they do is do drugs and get in gangs. She said, so my whole life I was trained that Black Americans only do drugs and get in gangs. And then she said, but when I got here, I'm in a neighborhood with all Black people and I was scared. But you know, they were so nice and you guys have done so much. I was like, man, that's dope. I was like, thank you, and we glad to have you here. Black Americans don't trip on other groups. We're a very secure group within ourselves. We really don't trip on other groups. But it was hella cool to see that lady, she just came up out of nowhere. And she talked to me. I would have talked to her longer, but she talked for like 5 minutes while I'm trying to get shown the features on my new car. Hell, I still don't know how to work these goddamn features because of that. I still don't know how to work some features on my car because I'm listening to this lady talk while she's showing me this shit. But that was hella cool to see someone who who appreciated what Black Americans did. That was hella cool. Oh, how would you go about booking me? Email me. Email me info. Or no, that's my. If you're gonna book for comedy, hotepish@gmail.com. Hotepish@gmail.com. Pretty soon I'm about to come up with just straight up booking at DwannB.com. But for right now, hotepish@gmail.com. Email me. You can book me. Yes, you can book me. Yeah, them other countries. That's why I don't take things personally with other groups. It's because they have been brainwashed. These motherfuckers really have been brainwashed. The same way we've been brainwashed. But you know how it is. You could talk about somebody if you ain't ever been around them, and the person you want to. If think about this psychologically, you're in a transaction, you're in a relationship with someone you want something from. In the case of immigrants, they want to come to this country. The person that holds the keys on whether or not you come to this country comes to you in an honest way. Well, they seem honest. They got a suit on, and they go to these classes, and in these classes, they teach you how to run a liquor store. In America, they teach you how to, get your own gas station because they had that shit in them countries. They teach you how to do these things, and in that process, they tell you, yes, now if you're dark skinned, you're going to have to live amongst these Negroes because we're not going to pay you enough money to live with white people. But don't go around them. Don't trust them. All you see on the news is them shooting and killing each other. You probably going to believe the bullshit because you're listening to the person that has a resource that you want. You're probably going to believe them. But once you get here, all I can say is like have an experience like that lady. Look at things for yourself. See it for yourself. Open your mind. You see, Black people have a warped perception of your home country. Why is that? Is that because of propaganda? Well, the same propaganda that's working against the people that you're criticizing probably works against you too. That's how you get to the bottom of shit. Yeah. This is my third Honda Accord. Male. This is my third one. It depends on the country, Beef Murphy. You have a good point. They do treat dark people bad in some countries. They do, but what about the countries where all the niggas is dark? When you're dealing with South Africa and Nigeria and Ghana, all them niggas is at 11:59 p.m. Let's just tell the truth. But at the same time, some people leave their countries before they even know how the social order is in their country. A lot of people came here as teenagers, at 7 years old, at 6 years old. If you come to the United States at 6, and your parents were taught that, and your parents passed that shit down to you, or you were an anchor baby born here, but your parents learned that bullshit, and they instilled that in you growing up, you're not gonna know the difference until you get out and have your own experiences. And so yeah, man. You always gotta. That's why I say social dynamics courses are like essential. I think everyone should take group dynamics. I think everyone should take. I think these. I ain't saying go to college. These should be like mandatory in school. That's why I'm such a big proponent of home education, because this is shit that people should know by 15, 14. I had to learn this shit in college because fucking school don't teach you this shit. But group dynamics, cultural anthropology, sociology. You apply those principles to life. They're not hard classes to take either. But how we're socialized is a science. We're scientifically, methodically placed in different environments and educated and groomed as people. When you know how the problem is put together, you know how to. And the reason why I recommend those classes is because when you understand how a problem is put together, you then understand how to fix it. Classes like cultural anthropology and power dynamics, like especially group dynamics. Group dynamics will go a long way in helping you deconstruct racism. Just a general group dynamics course. Learn how people operate in groups and in those dynamics. Because once you understand group dynamics, you know that your reparations, because there's a whole bunch of niggas that run around talking about you need to change your title to get reparations. They ain't gonna give no money to black because black don't exist. Okay. Shit like that. You get caught up in these side stupid ass issues. You know, man, what we need to do is come together. If you don't understand group dynamics, you say dumb shit like, we just need to come together. Why can't black people get along? We must stop the hate. All these general cliche statements you be hearing, dumbass. Let me take it back. I don't want to be too hard. Not dumbass people, but people who just repeat cliches. People who have a good heart to want to do better. They repeat dumb statements. They may be otherwise good people, but they repeat stupid statements. Let's just come together. Let's just get along. We ain't gonna get nowhere till we get black unity. If you understand group dynamics, you understand every single one of those cliches is bullshit. Group dynamics is a science, motherfucker. 10% critical mass. Critical mass is what you need for change. 6 to 10%. 6 to 10% to do. Code language. Take Introductory to Communication, Speech 101. Everyone needs to take a fucking Speech 101, Speech 201 class. It teaches you that language is subjective, symbolism, and it teaches you the different levels of language, your literal and your figurative, and how we go in and out of literal and figurative speech. When you understand basic speech, you understand you don't go around saying dumb shit like, we just need to stop calling ourselves nigga. We ain't gonna go nowhere until we stop calling ourselves that mean mean word. Oh my God, you said nigger. We understand that all words have connotative and denotative meanings. You understand that you can go in and out of words and what a word means when applied, and then when you apply that connotative and denotative meaning, and you apply it to what you learned over in your group dynamics course, and you learn the difference between appropriation and assembly, and when you learn these dynamics and learn that when words by a dominant culture are taken and used against a subculture, that is offensive, and that's purposely coded language to harm and hurt. Versus when a subgroup in a group is punching up and talking about the dominant group, the word takes on a different meaning. Versus when a word is used within a culture, that every culture on earth, no matter what culture it is, has words that it uses amongst that culture that people outside that culture can't use. Jews can call each other a kike. You can't call a Jew a kike. Go back to Michael Jackson. And all I want to say is they don't really care about us. They blurted that word out. He said kike me, and they shitted on that whole History album. Blurted that word out, all that. But you got black folks running around, we just need to stop using the word. No, nigga, you need to educate yourself on how words are used. Stop saying dumb shit. You gotta learn just these, or stop killing you. We just need to stop killing each other. Look, when you live as above, so below. That's matter of fact, that's one of the 7 laws of the Hoodie. That's a spiritual law and an earth law. And the same spirit, like when you understand cultural anthropology and sociology, those laws follow the same laws of nature. You cannot expect a society, the low rungs of society, to be any greater than the government and how it operates, how the society is run. We live in a society that rapes, pillages other nations. It treats its own citizens like slaves. The United States is the most productive nation in the world by far. Productive meaning hours worked and amount of wealth produced. Have the worst vacation package, worst medical care. This country is gangster to its own citizens. So when you live in a gangster society to its own citizens, you're going to have gangster activity within that society. That's just group dynamics. That's just sociology. That's just cultural anthropology. When you see these things, when you see a society operates in a certain form of fashion, you can expect the citizens within that society to operate in that same form of fashion. A group, not all. So, because black folks got, out of 1 million people living in the hood, you got a few thousand in gangs and a few hundred shooting each other out of a million people in the whole fucking city. You got a couple hundred shooting each other. So we all gotta take responsibility for that? Fuck you. Now back to your questions. You gotta educate yourself. You're right, Benjamin, for people do understand. Yeah, learning don't stop. Learning do not stop. Yeah, you're right, Quan. There's many countries work 4 days a week, no weekends. Shit, France and Mexico, they have fucking siesta time in the middle of the workday. I'm gonna go home and take a nap and fuck on my gal real quick, then get back to work. What's up, Butter Love? like listening to RZA Islam talk. Let's see. What's up, Chuck? So that's why I say just a basic. You don't need in-depth knowledge of everything, but it's good to have a slight knowledge of a lot of things, a kindergarten knowledge. Because well, cultural, when it comes to anthropology, I was only like 3 classes from getting to get double bachelor's in that. So I have cultural anthropology. I have a fairly good knowledge of it, but sociology, group dynamics, all that stuff, I only took a class here and a class there. I only took a class here and a class there, those subjects. But it was enough to get a basic understanding, fundamental understanding, of these topics. So when people go around making cliche statements like, we just need to come together, a basic group dynamics course tells you there's no such thing as that. You're going to have, every society is going to have its thieves, its especially every society, every group within a capitalistic society. Because if we're living in an agrarian society, or where everyone has its needs met and everyone shares, you find that there's no stealing. In societies that practice true, not this fake socialism, true socialism, true agrarianism, they don't have these crimes because everyone's needs are met. But when you're dealing in a capitalistic society, capitalism requires dysfunction in order to function. So if your society if the economy is, well, it's still white supremacy, but if the monetary system is capitalistic, you can expect crime to happen because capitalism is a criminal society. Capitalism cannot exist without crime. What do they say? What's the cliche they say? Behind every great fortune, there's a great murder or some shit like that. They say something like, say behind every great fortune there's a great story, but that story involves murder, theft, stealing. And that's how white people treat each other when we're not around. RZA has a new page. It's I was watching him talk the other day. It's a intellectual, what is it? Intellectual extremist. Yeah. That's what it come down to. I told this story before on here. Some of y'all may have heard it. Back when I drove Uber, I had these white folks in the car. And they were talking about, I was in Manhattan Beach. And Manhattan Beach is hella racist. We're talking about over where Bruce Beach is. And this is the area that Bruce's Beach is in, that the black folks got their land at. This is the mindset of the people who live there. But mind you, it's like almost mostly all white. I remember about 10 years ago, the census said that the most professional athletes in the world per capita in any city live in Manhattan Beach. Because like all the LA Kings, there's a bunch of the Lakers, a whole bunch of Russian volleyball players and shit live there. But it's racist as fuck. Dude said, this motherfucker said, have you been in Jim's house? And this dude he was driving Uber was like, no, I haven't been there. He said, yeah, he doesn't let anybody over. And he was like, why doesn't Jim let anyone over his house? He was like, because Jim's house is the biggest house in Manhattan Beach. Because if you've ever been to Manhattan Beach, the lots in Manhattan Beach are not big at all. You don't really have a yard. You have just basically a long ass house and a flat roof or a patio. Your yard is your patio or your flat roof. But this dude has a house with like a big ass yard. And he said, well, why doesn't he want anyone to know where he lives? He said, because if anyone on the city council or certain people saw how big his house was, the city council would come together and force him to sell it and divide and subdivide his yard. And I sat there and I was ear hustling. And it made me, I started thinking like, goddamn, black folks, we complain about white people, but these motherfuckers is terrorists on each other when we not around. Why would you force someone to sell their home because it's bigger than everyone else's? And the man can't live in his home peacefully out of fear y'all gonna make him divide his shit up. Like, that's how they exist amongst each other. I used to learn so much driving Uber in Manhattan Beach. And I hated driving Uber in Manhattan Beach. I hated it. And like anytime I would get a ride to Manhattan Beach, most of the time I would turn my shit off and go back up to Marina Del Rey. Like, I don't want to ride for these motherfuckers. But I remember I had this one white boy. He was like, yeah, because they had just passed a law. You can't smoke cigarettes outside. You can't smoke anything outside. And he was like, yeah, man. He said, I got to get the fuck up out of the city. It's just white peopling on each other. And I was like, that was what a white boy had told me. That was one of my Uber passengers. He said, this city is just white peopling on each other. I was like, see, that's why we be always thrown off guard. We be thinking racism is personal, and it's a business. And when you see it as a business, as a social order, you lose your emotion about it and you fix it. Because if you're not around, they're going to do that shit to each other. They just come on cold against us. You know what I mean? What's up, Katt Went Timeless? I got league pass on. I'm going to be back and forth talking to y'all. I got back in and watching this Bulls game. What up, Eduardo? Do you believe emotions come with human experience from the higher soul being? Emotions are how we experience this lifetime. Like, what is this life without emotions? You know? It is said that spirit don't experience emotions. Like, you have people who, you have spiritual beings, but they don't experience the five senses. They don't experience emotions. Part of our humanity is emotions. Emotions are a good thing. We just have to understand how to control them. We got to understand how to control our emotions and not let our emotions control us. But when things are bad, they feel bad. But when things are good, they feel good. It feels like bliss. So the whole point is the whole thing is we're trying to figure out here is how to control our emotions. I happen to have very high emotional intelligence. I'm glad that God blessed me with that. Some people are born with a very low emotional intelligence. But even with a high emotional intelligence, I still have to work on managing my emotions. Even being naturally gifted with a high emotional intelligence. So those that don't manage their emotions well, who may have been born with a lower emotional intelligence, you just have to learn how to control it. Because it's like, it's like when we play video games. When you do a creative player, they have their attributes. You can give them more speed, but more speed is going to mean less power. You can give them more height, but more height is going to mean less speed. That's how we all come here on this earth. We all come here with different attributes. And I think our journey here is to sharpen the attributes we use, the attributes that we're already good at, sharpen them, and to help others who aren't good at those attributes. Because the shit that we not good at, you gonna need somebody that spent their lifetime sharpening their greatness to help you fill that gap that you got, that you seeking in them. Like I can help people with their communication and handling their emotions, but I'll be needing help with other people on how to do other, like on how to fix a computer or other shit that I'm not good at. How to fucking fix my car. I ain't about to jack my car up. Like I learned how to fix my brakes, but I ain't about to do my own fucking brakes. Shit, I'm gonna call somebody else that good at that shit. And that's how life works. That's how life works. Hell yeah, university. You got to self-check a few times today to make sure you're in pocket. Yep. You know who? Do you know who love you? You should know. If your heart is open, you will be able to receive and know who loves you. But a lot of people's hearts are closed off. If your heart is closed off, you won't know who loves you. That means you have to work on opening your heart. Hell yeah, we need to shine a light on them. White supremacy only works in secret. Well, not just white supremacy, anything. Any of our vices, anything you do that's sneaky only works in secrecy. Once everybody knows somebody's a slime ball, sneaky motherfucker, they got to skip town and move somewhere else. Because it's hard to be sneaky once people know you sneaky. Why do you think propaganda's on us 24/7? TV commercials, even watching sports. It's propaganda, propaganda. Because a lie needs to be reinforced all day, every day. Truth don't need defending. Lies do. Lakers play the Pacers tonight. Man, this Bulls game is starting to be a blowout. What's up, Smoke Splitter? Yeah, our whole world is propaganda. Our whole fucking world is propaganda. That's why I don't get into all that. Like, going back, and this I think I'm gonna do my next show. I might do it tomorrow morning. But this whole comparing Malcolm X to Martin Luther King, it's always some Negroes that want to come around and talk about how they prefer X over King, or and people make it a fight. Let's start off by saying Malcolm X and Martin Luther King got along. So why are you fighting over two niggas that got along? Let's start off by saying that. Second, going back to school, going back to college. In elementary school, you have one teacher. But by the time you get to middle school, high school, and definitely in college, you have different teachers. Even for the same subject, in the same major. In my major, I go to one teacher for communication theory. I go to a different teacher for public speaking. Then I would go to a different teacher for my interpersonal communication class. And that's just within my major. And then I go to someone else for my math, somebody else for my science. You've been spending your whole life learning from multiple sources. But when it comes to your liberation and when it comes to your spirituality, you want to make it only one person? Do that even make fucking sense? black people don't experience racism in one form. Black people experience racism in all forms, from all angles. You can't think of an angle that any angle, like needed for the doing in people activity, that we're not imprinted with racism. So instead of taking what you can, because first of all, I think if you're choosing one or the other, you didn't spend no time listening to either. Because you may lean more towards X, and most black people do, at least in the B1 segment, and some lean, others may lean, but you still gonna have some X principles if you lean towards more towards King. You're still gonna have some King principles if you lean more towards X. If you're a Garveyite, you're still gonna understand some principles of Noble Drew Ali. If you're in the Nation of Islam, you still gonna understand and be able to use some principles of Christianity. The problem with most Christians is they don't listen to nobody but one person. That's why they don't even understand that they can use the Quran. They can use Buddhism. They can use other forms of spirituality to enhance their own. So when you get into, you come around me, if you think, if you're the kind of person that love X but hate King, and I don't like King because he was this, I respect your point of view, but keep that shit to yourself. Because if you express that shit to me, then I might say something funny in return, just because I feel like it. I'm an asshole like that. I'm the kind of person, if you inconvenience me with something I don't like, I'm gonna say something that I know you probably ain't gonna like. Cause why not? You piss me off, so I might as well piss you off. Equality. Yeah. Dedication says the FBI need to understand charlatans. Yeah, facts over feelings. Supremacists. Why do you think some people are racist towards black people? Because that's the contract to be in America. That's what an American is. To be, whiteness isn't based on anything affirmative. Whiteness and attraction to whiteness is based on anti-black racism. That's been going on in this country since the 1680. If you want this benefit of this thing we call whiteness, go prove it. Go kill a nigga. That's how the Irish got their whiteness. That's how the Italians got their whiteness. That's how the Germans got their whiteness. Because remember, this was a white Anglo-Saxon place in the 1600s. When they started importing Germans in the 1700s, that's how they got their whiteness. So now when they import people from India, how do they get closer to being white, to whiteness? By being anti-black. If Kamala Harris wasn't as staunch down anti-black as she was, do you think she'd be vice president? That's a requirement if you want the spoils of American society. You only come to America for it to come up. You don't come to America for any other reason. You can just, if you just want to live a mundane life, you can keep your ass at home. People come to America to come up. And part of the comeuppance is to shit on black people. That's just part of it. I was just reading something today on the Natchez tribe war of a massacre of the year 1729. The native Natchez Indian tribe and these Africans, they said from they say from Mali, were up in the area, and there have been a few skirmishes with other Europeans, but the French tried to just walk up in Natchez and like get them Indians up off that land and say, hey, we need this for a plantation. So the Natchez tribe and them Africans got together and killed over 200 French motherfuckers in the year 1729. I'm always very interested in Natchez area because my family was enslaved in Natchez, and they were mulatto. They were mulatto, but they were enslaved through the late 1700s, early 1800s in mulatto in there. Yeah, so hey, look, one thing I see your comment, brother Mel Smith. One thing I don't ever worry about is going over people's heads. You know why? Because there's so many black people who are more intelligent and who they get it. They get it. One thing I don't believe in is slowing the bus down for people who can't catch up. And there's no disrespect for people who can't catch up, but everyone has someone on their level that's speaking to them. And as your intelligence increases or your IQ increases, you'll find ways to level up. But people who aren't total assholes and total idiots, they need someone that's speaking their language. And I speak to people the way I want to be spoken to. That's why I cuss and talk shit in between giving information at a certain level. And I'm definitely not the smartest motherfucker out there. It's way smarter niggas than me. And when y'all get to that level, y'all level up and go to them. Or people who deliver messages without cussing different ways than me. I gotta keep it at my energy level. Because there's people out there that can pick it up. The last thing I want to do is slow it down. That's what MTV for. That's true. Dedication replace white with genetic recessive, replace black with genetic dominant. At that point, racism makes total sense. You found deeds of land great-grandmama owned and was forced off after oil was found in Waco, Oklahoma. See? See? Yeah. So that's why, like, that's why I do. I talk the way I talk. Because I like, my grandparents, all the elders around me, when they drop game, they drop funny shit too. That's just how black people talk. My dad. It don't even be intentional. Hell, with me, it don't be intentional. Sometimes I won't realize I said something funny till you niggas laugh in the chat room. Or I'll get some comment after the show with someone saying, I can't believe you said blah. And I'll be like, oh shit, I didn't know I said that. My dad funny as hell. Don't even try to be funny. He ain't even doing it intentionally. My dad is hilarious. This is some of the game my dad used to give me. And this is why I never been, so goddamn thirsty like a lot of niggas. My dad told me from the age of 5, he said, I'm going to tell you this right now, son. A whiskey flask in a woman's ass will get you every time. So watch your vices. Watch what you get into. Especially like when I was like 15, when I got to my teenage years, my dad be like, or he'll be telling a story about one of his friends that did some bullshit or got divorced. Yeah, see, Michael got divorced, man, because, You know, he cheated on his woman. I've been telling you since he was a baby boy. A whiskey flask and a woman's ass get you every time. And that's how we learn lessons as black people. We learn through allegory. What's up, Ramon James? What's up, yeah, man? Out on that I-80. Man, that I-80 is beautiful, ain't it? I've never driven it. I've only seen pictures. I have a truck driving friend that be taking pictures off that I-80. I want to drive it one day. I want to drive that I-80 and the I-90. Man, I gotta drive that. Me and the wife be going on hella road trips. That's why I got my Honda Accord. I be driving this whole fucking country in my Accord. But that hybrid is like whatever. Like hybrid isn't as good on the road. My hybrid is getting the same MPGs as my my other Accord I had. And since the gas tank is smaller, I gotta stop and get gas all the time in the hybrid, like every 350 miles. My last Accord, I can go 500 miles between fill-ups when I be on them road trips. You're right, Shahar, our circumstances make us funny. Yep. It's my third Honda. My first Honda, I got it used. And I had it for 2 years. And I went to Vegas. And mind you, it was 123 degrees on the 15 freeway going to Vegas through Death Valley. I get to Vegas, stay a couple days. In Vegas, it was 115 the whole time. Came back. But after I came back, my engine started making some noise. And I go get it fixed. Man, come to find out, I had no oil in my car. Because at the time, I was doing my own oil change. But my dumb ass, as I started getting more mileage, I should have increased to a 10W30. But I was still putting in 0W20. And they was like, yeah, all that shit basically burnt out the engine. And I got to Vegas and back in 123-degree weather with no oil in my Accord. So when that happened, that was a 2011 Accord. When that happened, I said, I'm loyal to Honda. So then I got a 2017 Honda Accord. In my 2017 Honda Accord, I put 130,000 miles on it from 2017 to last summer. I put 130,000 miles on that car in about 3 years, 3.5 years. I be putting miles on my car. So I got my hybrid Accord now, hybrid touring. I've had that for 5 months. And I already have 11,000 miles on it. I done drove that motherfucker to Texas and back. I done drove that motherfucker to Mount Shasta and back. When I go to wine country, me and the wife, when we go to wine country is a 200-mile one way. My first winery I stop at is 200 miles away. And we do that in a day. We go there and back in the same day. And I do that like once every 2 months, once every 3 months. And a nigga still go to Vegas. I drive to Vegas like 2 to 3 times a year. Hell yeah, hybrids are better for the city driving. Now on the road, the regular, like the non-hybrid is better on the road, but is my hybrid better? Hell yeah, my hybrid better. Shit. My tank is only 11 gallons. And in the city, I be getting like 450 miles to the tank. I'm getting like 40 miles to the gallon. If I got in a regular hybrid, I would be getting like 50 or 60 miles to the gallon. Hell yeah, Quan, I want to own my own winery too. I got a lot of wine. You see that? That's wine. I got about, we down to about 60 bottles of wine. Usually I keep I keep a lot of wine in this house. He said, 91 Accord, man, 91 Accord goes 300,000 miles. Hell yeah. Bet you it did. I'm just like my mom and my dad, man. My mom and my dad, I went to go kick it with them on King Day. Them niggas ain't at home. I called them, where y'all at? Oh, we just took a drive. I'm like, man, when your son comes to see you, parents, y'all retired ass is supposed to be home. Nope, not my parents. We out on the drive. I'm just like them. My dad raised me that way. My dad raised me. He used to tell me, son, you get a woman, you don't have to spend a whole bunch on a woman. It's good to do it. And I'm not saying don't spend money on her, but it's a lot of things you can do that don't require money and are a lot of fun. That's what my dad taught me. So I apply his lessons. You see, you can turn your car into a water-operated vehicle. I know someone, well, I don't know them. There was this Mexican coworker I used to have. Her husband turned cars into water-operated vehicles, but they came down on his ass. Here, this country cold. They shut him down, and he ended up like they got him on some law, but he had to basically promise to never make another water-operated car, or they would put his ass in jail. I was like, damn, this country cold. Because I had this Chevy, my other car before my Honda was a Chevy Tahoe. I was thinking about going to him and making my Tahoe water operated. She was like, nah, he got arrested. Shut him down. And like, if you make another water operated Tahoe, nigga, we gonna bury you in Lake Tahoe, nigga. This country cold as fuck. Man, Amir be making me want to do some shrooms. And I was actually thinking about microdosing tonight, too. I was actually thinking about microdosing. I'm not. I was thinking about it. I'm not. I'm actually waiting till I go back to Lake Tahoe. I'm like, I'm not going to do no more shrooms until I go back to Lake Tahoe. I want to do next time I do my shroom trip, I'm trying to dry out, because last year, 2021, I mean, at one point in the summer, I was doing shrooms twice a month. Last summer. And like once a month before that, like, nah, I'm like, I ain't done no shrooms in a little bit. I want to dry all the way out. So the next time I'm either in Lake Tahoe or Las Vegas, I do them then and get all the way blasted. All the way. But it's hard though, because I got about 10 grams of shrooms in my weed closet. I got 2 ounces of shroom lemonade in my refrigerator. And I got 4 1-Up bars in my refrigerator right now. I got a lot of shrooms around my house right now. I got a lot of shrooms around my house. And before anybody asks, no, I ain't selling shit. I ain't selling a motherfucking thing. Oh, that shroom lemonade is dope. Let me see. Let me see this shit. Is it? Can y'all see it? Is it light? Is y'all see it? I ain't trying to show y'all the inside of my house like that. But y'all see it? It's that shroom lemonade right there. Nigga. Got like 4 of these up in this motherfucker. See? But I'll wait. I'll wait. You say you play hoop off shroom? Oh, hell, I ain't fucking with you, nigga. Nah, nigga, I ain't fucking with you. This nigga said he hooped on shrooms. Nah, you got it, homie. You got it. You got it. Nigga, trust me, bro. You got it. Nah, I ain't fucking with you. Who the fuck said? Who was that said they hooped on M University hooped on shrooms? Nah, you got it, homie. You got it. That's some shit I would not do. I would not hoop on shrooms. I would not. No, nope, not doing it. Nigga said he hooped on shrooms. I'm telling y'all right now. That Costco, and that Kirkland XO. This nigga said he hooped on shrooms though. Fuck that. Nope. Now when I'm on shrooms, I listen to music. I'm telling you right now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving any kind of medical advice, but I'm telling you, when you on shrooms, use it to your advantage to open up your mind and get over shit that's giving you hangups. Good point, Chuck. Good question. When Chuck asks, why do we as black people believe we need a leader as opposed to leading ourselves? That's because those are people, we're confused. On the compassionate side of the game, we're confused. If we weren't confused as a people, we would not be under the rule of white supremacy. So first off, I'm going to start off by saying we are confused. So when you're confused, what's the first thing you look for? A teacher, someone to show you a way. If someone just gives you, if you never taken math before and you see 3 divided by 19 solve the problem, the first thing you're going to do is look for a teacher to solve the problem, right? So on a base level, we're confused. That's the base. On top of that, a lot of people are scared. They're very scared. And when you go and get a leader, scared and lazy, both, I put them equally, scared and lazy. When you're scared, when you're lazy, when you're afraid, you don't want to do it. You want someone else to do it. When you're lazy, you don't want to do it. You want someone else to do it. That's on top of it. Nigga, a lot of these niggas are scared and lazy. They don't want to do the work, and they're scared. They don't even have the confidence. Ooh, Mike Conley with a step back. Ooh, that shit was nice. So you're dealing with a fearful, confused people. Oh, shit. Oh, he hit a 3.5 court. Look at that. Hey, look at the sequence. This is why I like basketball so much. Sorry, folks. I'm watching the game, too. Hey, look at the sequence. Conley. Step back. 3-pointer, 2 seconds left. Eric Gordon, no limit-headed ass. Pass it. Half court. Basket count. See, I love basketball. I love basketball. But you see, I watch the shit on mute because these announcers don't know what the fuck they talking about. But back to what I was talking about. Embiid at 50 tonight? That's what's up. Star says Sclazy. So, yeah. That's the thing. Scared and lazy. Scared and lazy. But underneath that is confusion. And one thing about white supremacy, it gets to the base of every. It gets to the. It keeps you in the. It keeps you in check at the base level. The fear. I don't know if you guys have ever seen me do a show. I did a show about a year ago on how the brain operates and how the 3 levels of the brain: the reptilian brain, the midbrain, and then the thinking brain, the cerebral brain. And your reptilian brain, your oldest, for the part of your brain that connects with the back of your neck, that's fight or flight. And when you're stuck in that fight or flight, when you're stuck in that fear mode, the signals don't get pushed up into your midbrain, then up into your cerebral cortex right here. This is where all your thinking, logic happens back here. Your creativity and thinking happens up here. The signals never reach this far because they get stuck back here where your shag is. I call it the shag brain. When you're in fear, your brain don't get past your shag. And all you can think is fight or flight. And white supremacy keeps you in a perpetual state of fear. And that's why they are bringing up voting rights again for the umpteenth time. But if people are constantly scared, they're not thinking, hey, they ran the voting rights thing about when Obama. Then they said Obama won't get reelected because of voting rights. And they're back at it again. But when you're in constant state of fear, you never get to this part of your brain to think. That's just biology. They understand biology. We commoners, we see biology as some fucking subject we had to struggle through in school. Biology is a practice, not a class. That class was around to explain the practice. You watching the Clippers and Nuggets? I'm gonna turn to that. See, but I watch League Pass. I watch games I watch fourth quarters. When games get in the fourth quarter, I flip back and forth between whatever game is at the latest point. See, right now the Spurs and the Thunder, it's 46 seconds left, 118-94. Now you ain't watching that. But the Rockets and Jazz started the fourth quarter, it's 83-81. And then the Pistons, we watching the Lakers too, because Lakers my squad. Nah, I guess my league pass. I'm a basketball junkie. I'm a basketball junkie. Yeah, fear is crippling, Quan. Fear is very crippling. Extremely crippling. Extremely. That's why the news always has a virus. And before the virus, it was Al-Qaeda. And before Al-Qaeda, it was, these crackheads are going to break in your house one day. And then before that, it was communists and communism. It's always get you in a perpetual state of fear so you don't think. Dev Human said, You sipping sherbet ice cream. Ha ha. Ha ha. Nah. I'm sipping your girlfriend's juices, nigga. That's what I'm sipping on. Dipped inside this hen. It's XO. I remember when that 9/11 hit. See, I could talk about it with wisdom now because I experienced the shit. You know, I was afraid after 9/11. 9/11 scared the shit out of me. I remember I was in Santa Monica College. I had a 7 a.m. math class. Only class I ever took that was 4 days a week in college. It was Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. And I had that 7 a.m. class because I like to get in school and get the fuck out. Y'all notice whenever I do my shows, I usually do them in the morning because my brain is at its sharpest in the morning. And I remember waking up and seeing that fucking one building on fire. And then as I'm getting ready for school, seeing that other plane smack doom boom boom. But I still went to school like, man, fuck that shit. I went to school. We had our math class. The teacher didn't know what happened. And then I had my second class. And then in the middle of my second class, they canceled school for the rest of the day. Coming home, my mom called me. Because at the time, my mom worked for aerospace. And it was just one of them things where she was just like, man, go home. There's some shit going on. And I remember being scared as fuck. And I remember watching the news every day, scared. I remember that Saturday after 9/11 was the Bernard Hopkins, Felix Trinidad fight for welterweight at 160. Been looking forward to that fight. And I remember that was the first big event after the towers hit. And I remember being scared as fuck that event was going to get blown up. I remember when football started that year. And I remember when basketball started. My Lakers had just won the fucking championship against the Sixers. And I could not enjoy that third season all the way, that third championship run with Shaq and Kobe, because every time we turned the game on, we wondered if the shit gonna get bombed. And then they got terrorist level orange, terrorist level yellow, all this shit going on. And I was scared as fuck. And then I started just using my logic after that. And, you know, like, okay, this thing is still going on. We in all these goddamn wars. And you started seeing more of what they would call conspiracy theories about the building. Then it's like, okay, but how did the building fall? And then I started questioning a whole lot of shit. So now when I see this slam boom boom damn demic coming around, I'm like, man, this seemed like the same play as the last play I got run through. It's just has a different uniform on. But it's the same fucking play. Man. See, Quanez, I wasn't on it that fast. I didn't think something isn't right away. I really was fucking scared, man. I remember that happened on a Tuesday. I remember I never went to Tuesday night Bible study, Tuesday afternoon Bible study at church. I never went to Tuesday afternoon Bible study. That was the only service I didn't go to. But I remember on 9/11, I went to Tuesday afternoon Bible study. I was in church. Nigga was confused. I was 20 years old. What's up, Willie B, man? And then being a student of history, there's nothing that went with it. I remember when I was in college around that same time, we studied McCarthyism and how the 1950s was McCarthyism. And that was when McCarthy was going around accusing people of being communists. And so when I kept hearing, watch out for the terrorists, it reminded me like I wasn't living in the 50s, but I'm a good damn student of history. Terrorists sounds a lot like communists. When I study history, there was a time that they controlled the population through the fear during the Cold War, and how they would keep the information in check was to label people who said things that were not in lockstep with the country, was to label them communists. And I'm like, man, in today's world, when people say things that aren't in lockstep with the country, they name them terrorists. This is how I started thinking. You say you stopped going to church at Dylan Roof? What's up, Delano L? See, at the time, I didn't know us in architecture around the world was worldwide back then. Back then, I didn't know who Minoko Rashidi was or John Henry Clark. Not back then. I used to listen to my teacher. I remember I took one of my anthropology classes that I learned a lot from. This was physical anthropology. I had a professor that spent like 12 years in Africa. And this before I understood white supremacy. When I used to ask her, like, when we talk about history, like, what was going on in Africa, she would always be like, Africa has the oral tradition, so we don't know. And I believed that white bitch, because I didn't know no better. I didn't know who Dr. Ben was at that time. I grew up in a church environment. I knew who motherfucking Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was at the time. But I didn't know who Dr. Ben was. Nigga, I knew who the fuck David and Saul was, but I didn't know who the hell Van Sertima was at the time. All that shit came later. You said what events after 9/11? After 9/11? Man, they got right back to sports after 9/11. They took like 1 week off football and was like, all right, back at it. Yeah, we grow ourselves. That's why, like, that's why I try my best. Like, I don't judge people. I try my best not to judge people. Only time I have issues is when people come at me at a confrontationally, and they want to argue. Then I respond in kind when people come at me on a confrontational manner. But if you don't come at me confrontationally, I'll explain things to people because I know that I was once I'm still the person that need things explained to. Nigga, I'm only smart in a few areas. There's other areas of my life where I gotta call in. I need an explanation. Shit. You gotta grow. We grow ourselves. This nigga in the chat room, Carlton Taylor, this nigga dressed like Dwayne Wade. Anybody named Carlton Taylor dresses like Dwayne Wade Westbrook. Nigga. This motherfucker got on some capri pants as we talking right now. Extra tight. This nigga Carlton S is wearing some XS capri pants. Extra small. This nigga. Oh, that Gary Chambers blunt ad, that shit's insulting. You looking for the black vote by smoking a blunt? Nigga, I smoke enough weed for everybody. I don't give a fuck if my politician I'm voting for smoke weed or not. Nigga, you gonna get some laws changed in my favor? And I don't mean weed laws. I mean real laws. Positive influence. So you once quit a job on your birthday. Your birthday's a workers' rights. Yeah, Carlton, this nigga wear capri pants and penny loafers at the same time. And your penny loafers got a Chuck E. Cheese token in them. This nigga wear white, and nigga Carlton Taylor got on white capri pants too. Not beige, not khaki, not blue, not navy. This nigga's capri pants is white. With penny loafers with a Chuck E. Cheese token in them. Talking about he fashion forward. I want to roll some more weed, but I'm out of weed in here. All my weed is back in my man cave, but back in my man cave, the cell phone reception be tripping back there. Do y'all think religion serves the purpose of civilizing immoral people? It did. That's what it did. Let's tell the truth. Religion went a long way in civilizing the European, the Caucasian. That's according to their history. Christianity was the first thing that ever got Europe on cold with each other. Europe has a history of roaming bandit tribes. The Vandals, the Visigoths, the Anglos, the Saxons, the Franks. All those motherfuckers. Just a bunch of Roman tribes of war and debauchery. The first thing that got them to come together was Christianity. And Christianity got them on cold with one another, and it got them to halfway stop fighting each other. Christianity went and still goes a long way in civilizing the Caucasian. It's divided us as black people, but it's civilized them. Yes, I know the original Christians were the Coptics, comes out of Africa. For any Bible thumpers that come in here, I understand that. But it still holds true. Christianity civilized the tribes of Europe. You say from the Bay, been to the pen in the 90s. I get a lot of love from the brothers that been in the pen, that been in prison. Shouts out to y'all. I've always been the biggest that be tripping me out because I've been the biggest square in my whole fucking life. But I've always been a brother, but also being born and raised in South Central, I never got pressed by any of the street niggas. I always had hoop with the street niggas. They never tried to jump me in. And matter of fact, when shit would go down, they would come to me and be like, "Dwan, you don't want to be here today." But I don't know. I got a lot of love for the cats that been locked up because I understand. I understand the cats that's been locked up. Yeah, no matter what they did, I understand that I live in a society that set the table up. It's like when you tilt a table. Every ball may not go over there, but some balls will roll in that pocket. And the table is tilted that way. destabilized nation, destabilized society, and a system that criminalizes youth. Because to be youth, to be a teenager, to be young is to be rambunctious. To be young is to be explorative and not really tripping on consequences. That's part of being young. But when you're white and young, you don't get criminalized. You gotta like really do some heinous shit, like rape somebody or kill somebody to get locked up for a long time as a white person. But as a black person, all you gotta do is sell a drug or be with someone that's selling a drug, and then have a gun on you while you sold that drug. That's an enhancement, and be associated with a local gang. That's another enhancement. So now you go from what should have in a humane society, yeah, you did the crime, but you probably should have did 6 months to 2 years. The 5-year minimum, along with the 2 enhancements, now got you at 15, 20 years. I don't judge. I can't judge somebody that was a drug dealer as a teenager in their early 20s that went to the pen that got locked up over that. You got to be corny as hell to hold judgment over someone's head for that. You say you used to look down on sports entertainment. I don't look down on any of it no more. I'm glad you said that, Chuck, because I used to look down on a lot of things. As I get older, I realize looking down on shit don't do nothing. It doesn't do anything for me. Like, it gives me psychic benefits, but outside of psychic benefits, it doesn't do anything for me. Like, everyone has a vice or something that they do when they fucking around, and everybody fucks around. Nobody's fucking eggheading it 18 hours a day. Everybody got something that they fuck off with. They fuck their time off with. For some people, fucking their time off is gossiping. And this, if you ain't hurt nobody, it is what it is. Now, if you're hurting somebody, you gotta check it. But for some people, fucking time off is just going down and watching TikTok. For some people, fucking around is watching a murder investigation TV shows. For some people, fucking around is game shows. For some people, fucking around is a comedy, whatever. Everybody got their own way to get high. Everybody got their own ways to fuck around. So I can't judge my fucking around versus your fucking around. Everybody's still fucking around, you know? Are you in Dago now? That's what's up. And Netflix is a drug, yeah. So everybody got their own drugs that they deal with. The key is, instead of spending time judging people for their drug, do your best to control your drug. Do your best to control your drug. There are times I'll go a whole week without watching basketball to get some things done constructively. But when I feel I've been constructive, I'm gonna watch some fucking basketball. Especially if my wife ain't home. My wife is chilling. Oh man. When she home, usually I'll be doing other things. Judging, man. That's why judging is so. I feel he never stopped chiefing. That's why they say judgment is useless. That's why they say judge not. Because honestly, what do you get out of judgment? And this is coming from a nigga that used to be very judgmental. What do you get out of it? Like, that's why I stopped judging so hard. Not because I became some morally superior person that doesn't judge. No. I stopped judging for selfish reason. I stopped judging because it's like I literally get nothing out of this. Like, judging has never spurned any ideas that'll help me make more money. Judging has never opened my mind to a new pattern of thought that's ultimately helped me become a better person. Judging is only led back to more judging. And then when I realized that, I was like, man, I'm wasting my fucking time. This judging shit is a waste of fucking time. That's how I got to not judging. Not trying to be some old spiritual Zen master. I try to waste my fucking time. What's up, Hostile Takeover? Yeah, judging is a tool. You judge to discriminate. Just like discrimination is a tool. It's good to discriminate. I like this, I don't like that. That's good. When you know what you like, you spend more time doing that. When you know what you don't like, you don't do that anymore. Judging something good or bad, I don't like that. That ain't for me. Good. Once I made that judgment, that ain't for me, move on to the next thing. When somebody do some shit that I don't like, I judge that behavior somebody don't like. Good. Move on to the next thing. I don't fuck with that person. Now move on. Well, I'm not gonna sit here and just talk about that nigga for the next 2-3 hours. Once I see that, once I judge a person is doing a bunch of shit that I don't fuck with, I just don't fuck with them and I move on. See how that works? That's what judgment's good for. I don't fuck with fill in the blank and move on. Yes, like lie is energy, Shar. It needs constant validation. You can say you love the 49ers. What's up, Freddy? Man, we got a minute 55 left. 106-104 in this Utah Rockets game. Okay. Oh, that's some good ball movement right there. That's some good ball movement right there. The Rockets are winning with, like, they don't really have a good team, but it's good to see what's his name? The coach of the Rockets, what's his name? Forgot his name, but I just know his face. It's good to see him winning because I remember when he was assistant. I used to see him around a lot when he was an assistant coach. Good to see him at a head coach and doing well. All right, 5-point game, 147 left. Yeah, Ty Lil do these flowers. Yeah, John Blair Bickerstaff. JB Bickerstaff. I remember him because this one cat I used to coach. He played under Bernie Bickerstaff with the Bobcats. And his son, JBB, was an assistant coach. And now the nigga's a head coach. Oh, Eric Gordon tried to mix him up and lost the ball. Joe Ingles with the ball, 2-point game, minute 13 left. Almost turned the ball over. This nigga Mike Conley knows how to run a team. This nigga Mike Conley knows how to run an offense, boy. Ingles, that's a charge. Oh, they didn't call it. Ooh, terrible miss. Yeah. Man, but... Man. What y'all talking about in the chat room? Any more questions? I'm about to get the fuck up out of here if y'all ain't got no more questions. I'm ready to smoke again. My last joint had mostly mullein in it. Mostly mullein. Now I want to smoke some weed. Let me see. All right, peace, sir. I'm about to get the fuck up out of here and watch some more basketball. It's 55 seconds left in this game. All right. Hotepish.com/shop. Get y'all shit.